Plan on flying? In order to board domestic flights, your driver's license or state-issued ID must be a real ID. Learn how to get your real ID today at tsa.gov/realid or visit your local DMV.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Exposed, Scandalous Files of the Elite. I am your host, Jim Chapman, and this is the second episode in the trial of Sean Combs. The trial has started. We are smack dab in the middle of jury selection. I figure this is going to take a few days to complete. Look, they're going to go back and forth. Not going to be easy to find a jury that does not already have an opinion on the guilt or innocence of Sean Diddy Combs. Now, important to keep in mind, to serve on a jury, you don't have to not know anything about Sean Combs, not know anything about this case. Your obligation is that you listen to all the evidence and you can form an opinion of guilt or innocence based off of that evidence. There's a misconception out there that if you know anything about a case prior to that case going to trial, that you can't serve on that jury, that nothing can be further from the truth. You just have to be able to make a decision of guilt or innocence one way or the other based on the evidence that is presented in the trial. So they're in the middle of that right now. And I'm not really sure exactly how often I'm going to drop these episodes, at least once a week. Heck, I may do these daily if it gets really wild in that trial and I can get the information quick enough. You're just going to have to stay tuned. Make sure you follow, hit that bell, or wherever you're listening, follow us, and you'll be alerted when we drop episodes. And the first thing that I'm going to do today, I thought it would be beneficial to give you a timeline, kind of a complete timeline of how did we get to this point. Look, I've got 30 plus episodes on Diddy in the vault. Scroll back through those episodes and you will find the Diddy saga. Maybe you're just joining us and you just need a synopsis of how we got here. I'm going to give you that now. I'm going to give you a little chronological timeline of how we got here. And for Sean Diddy Combs, it all started for him in May of 2017 when Cindy Ruda alleged sexual assault against Diddy. I did a whole podcast on this. In early 2017, his personal chef was the first one to file a lawsuit against him. Now, she claimed that she was a subject of sexual harassment and that she was not compensated for working overtime over the 13 months that she was employed with Sean Combs. That lawsuit was settled for an undisclosed amount of money, and that was in February of 2019. Then, almost 2 years later, on November 16th of 2023, Cassie Ventura drops her lawsuit. That's the one that got my attention. I was covering this shit before anybody. She filed a civil lawsuit against Diddy, and she said the rapper and record label owner was guilty of rape, assault, coercion, and manipulation during their decade-long relationship. And her lawsuit included accounts of what she said were violent abuses. And she included the information on the now infamous freak-offs. The lawsuit also claimed that Combs destroyed U.S. rapper Kid Cudi's car. Now, Combs denied all those allegations. He even did videos, etc. And I've caught you up on all this, but he denied everything. And of course, then the infamous video came out showing him beating the shit out of Cassie. And he had to kind of admit and backtrack on what he had said regarding his involvement in all of that. Now, what sparked my attention to this whole deal was the fact that he settled with her the day after she filed the lawsuit. November 24th of 2023, 3 more women came forward to say that Sean Combs sexually assaulted them. On November 29th of 2023, Combs stepped down as the chair of Revolt. Now, Revolt was a cable channel, basically. He was the chairman of that, and it was very lucrative, yet he stepped down as chairman of that company due to everything that preceded that relative to his indiscretions. December 6th of 2023, another lawsuit was filed by an anonymous woman who claimed Diddy sex trafficked her, in addition, gang raped her when she was 17. February 27th of 2024, Rodney Jones came out and sued Diddy Combs. You'll remember that episode that I did. March 26th of 2024, Combs Properties, the famous raid on those properties where they had his kids at gunpoint and it was a big deal all over the internet. That occurred May 18th of 2024. That's when that video came out of Sean Combs assaulting Cassie Ventura, in that hotel lobby, and it proved to everybody that everything he had told you regarding his innocence was bullshit, at least as it pertained to that case. May 24th of 2024, 2 more lawsuits filed against Diddy. June 8th of 2024, Howard University revoked his honorary degree that he received. People were starting to take notice of how big a deal this was. July 4th of 2024, the 8th lawsuit was filed against Diddy. September 10th of 2024, Combs failed to show up for a hearing for a new filing against a prisoner by the name of Derek Lee Cardello Smith, and that caused the judge to rule in favor of Smith, and it was $100 million judgment because Diddy did not show up for that. September 11th of 2024, Dawn Richard files her lawsuit, one of the singers from the group Danity Kane. She also mentioned that she was witness to abuse experienced by Cassie Ventura. Then September 16th of 2024, infamous, the day Combs is arrested at a hotel in Manhattan, New York by the federal government for 3 counts of sex trafficking and racketeering. September 24th of 2024, another lawsuit emerges. Then October 1st of 2024, 120 people alleged sexual misconduct. That was when Tony Busby came out in that famous news conference, claimed he had over 120 people actually accusing Diddy of sexual misconduct. October 10th, 2024, they scheduled the trial for the federal government versus Sean Diddy Combs. It was scheduled for May 5th, 2025. At the time that they scheduled this, I thought there's no way that this is going to occur by May 5th, 2025. Hey, I was wrong. It's on, right? October 14th of 2024, 6 lawsuits were filed, including a 16-year-old boy. All of those filed by Tony Busby. October 27th of 2024, another rash of lawsuits was filed, and this rash of lawsuits also included a 13-year-old girl. A few days later, 2 more sexual assault lawsuits are filed. November 17th of 2024, Combs attempted to contact witnesses while he was in jail. That all came out, and more lawsuits were filed. November 27th of 2024, his bail was denied continually. He ain't getting out. November 29th of 2024, a fashion designer said in a lawsuit that Combs threatened to kill her and dangled her off a 17th floor balcony in 2016. She also alleged to be a witness to the abuse Cassie Ventura received from Sean Combs. December 9th of 2024, Jay-Z and Combs are accused of rape. So they added Jay-Z to that earlier lawsuit with the 13-year-old girl. I covered all of that. Since we found out that that lawsuit was dropped because of inconsistencies, but that is when that original lawsuit came out. December 12th of 2024, Diddy was accused in 3 more rape cases. Then on December 24th of 2024, his former assistant made claims about Diddy's infamous sex parties. Philip Pines alleged she was forced to have sex with a woman between December of 2019 and December of 2021, as well as made to clean up after Combs' quote, wild king nights parties. I brought you that story. January 8th of 2025, Jay-Z, he fired back and he filed a motion to dismiss his lawsuit. Of course, we know that that eventually did get dropped and dismissed. January 30th of 2025, his indictment from the federal government got amended to include the distribution of more drugs such as methamphetamine and mushrooms, and they added him dangling that person over that apartment balcony to the charges. That means they have proof of it, folks. February 5th of 2025, another wave of lawsuits is filed against Sean Combs. An adult entertainer, male adult entertainer, filed a lawsuit in that batch of lawsuits saying he was forced to perform a strip show and that he was drugged, etc., and a bunch of other lawsuits that I already covered. February 15th of 2025 is when that lawsuit was actually dropped against Sean Combs and Jay-Z. February 21st of 2025, Diddy's lawyer quit. Remember I told you that story. Anthony Rico files a motion to withdraw as one of Diddy's 6 defense attorneys. It was really made out to be bigger of a deal than it really was. That happens a lot. He was not the lead lawyer for Diddy. He was an assistant. And all of these guys are successful lawyers that work for Diddy. And sometimes they just can't get along. So he quit the case. It was really not that big of a deal. March 11th of 2025, and something I didn't mention prior to you hearing it right now, but it emerged that Odell Beckham Jr. was allegedly involved in some of this Diddy craziness. An amended lawsuit mentioned Odell Beckham Jr. as one of the men involved in that gang rape that I mentioned just earlier in this episode. The lawsuit was first filed in October by Ashley Parham, claimed she was lured to an apartment in California and raped by multiple men. Now, Beckham did come out in a statement on social media and said there is absolutely no truth to these allegations. I don't know and have never met the person that filed the suit, and I'm confident these ridiculous claims against me will be dismissed. March 14th, 2025, a new indictment came out against Diddy. It accused him of working his employees long hours and forcing them to assist in his sex trafficking scheme. And also that day, his legal team submitted to have the Ventura tape dismissed in court. Remember, I told you that tape is critical in this case. April 4th of 2025, Combs was hit with more charges. New counts of racketeering and sex trafficking were added to that federal indictment, bringing the total number of criminal counts by that point to 5. A woman dubbed, quote, victim number 2 was allegedly transported by Combs across state lines with the intent of being used for prostitution. That's illegal. On April 18th, Diddy's bid to delay his upcoming sex trafficking trial by 2 months, it was denied. And here we are, right smack at the beginning of this new trial. And I'm going to catch you up on some news. That was just a timeline of how we got here. I'm going to catch you up on some news. So the first thing I'm going to read you came out from themirror.com. It was on April 26th, and it says Sean P. Diddy Combs made one of his final appearances before his trial. The music mogul entered the courtroom wearing a khaki jumpsuit and immediately showing his appreciation to his legal team. He gave hugs to the 3 women and handshakes to the 2 men. Body language expert Judy James said that his acts of humility might have been part of the defense strategy. She said, quote, "We don't know in this case, but the greeting rituals with the defense attorneys are often well choreographed to create a desired effect, especially in high-profile cases. The warmth of the greeting can be used to suggest someone can be trusted and or liked." She further explained that, quote, "hugs, etc. can be used to suggest how a defendant should be viewed by the jury. The more positive the interactions and greeting rituals, the less guilty someone might look." While a jury wasn't present during the hearing, a selection is slated to begin on May 5th, Diddy's public appearance is still widely reported, and his actions remain under a microscope. With no technology allowed within the courtroom, the public is relying on court reporters and sketches to give a glimpse into the defendant's actions. And just quickly, let me say this. I'm friends with a lot of people in media, obviously, and the ones that attend trials where technology is not allowed, and I'm talking cell phones, none of that. You can't have any of that on in the courtroom. They literally have to sit there with a pen or a pencil and paper and write just everything they can. Some of these people are writing 100 miles an hour for 8 hours trying to get you that information. I'll continue on. Diddy is facing 5 charges across 3 federal indictments, including sex trafficking, conspiracy, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Diddy pleaded not guilty to all the charges against him. Additionally, he denies all allegations of wrongdoing against him, including those alleged in civil lawsuits. Despite the grim accusations, Diddy remained optimistic in court. On his way out of the room, he reportedly raised his fist in the air and gestured to individuals in the viewing gallery. These gestures and rituals sound like some very personalized tie signs or connections with people in court that, according to the expert, the body language expert, they would seem to humanize a defendant and suggest resilience. She further noted as saying some sound like small gestures of victory or even a message to stay strong. However, during the hearing, Diddy's team did not necessarily get much of a victory. Instead, their motion to exclude some of the most damning evidence of his case was denied by the judge. Previously, Diddy's team requested that a video of their client beating his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway be thrown out in court, claiming it would unfairly confuse and mislead the jury. Oh, give me a frickin' break. When the video was first released through CNN, Diddy made a video statement taking full responsibility for his actions. However, his team has since argued the footage was substantially altered in significant respects, including covering the timestamp and then changing the video sequence and speeding up the video to make it falsely appear that the actions in the video are taking place faster than they are. CNN denies the footage was edited. And let me say this on that. I don't care how you edit that thing. You can't make up kicking the shit out of somebody. You can't make up pulling somebody by the back of their hair so hard that they fall to the ground. I mean, all of that is just bullshit, right? About Diddy's request to throw the video out, prosecutors wrote, quote, "The defendant has been overwhelmingly concerned with the existence of the video surveillance since the assault occurred and is taking great measures to ensure it was not released. Now facing trial, the defendant attempts to keep this devastating proof from the jury. His grasping arguments to preclude this crushing evidence should be quickly dismissed." When the video was released, Diddy initially admitted to the actions in a video statement where he expressed remorse. He said, quote, "It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times of your life, but sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it, and I'm disgusted now. I went out and sought professional help, had to go into therapy, into rehab, had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry, but I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry." So that was that article. And you may be wondering, well, what happened? Did the defense win and that video won't be shown at the trial? Remember, I told you a long time ago, probably a year ago, that this video is the key to the whole case because it's indisputable, irrefutable evidence. Well, let's get into it because a ruling was made on that on April 25th. And I'm going to quote USA Today. The much talked about video that allegedly showed Sean Diddy Combs beating, kicking, and dragging his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura will be allowed to be included in his upcoming trial, a judge ruled today. In a pretrial hearing, lawyers for Combs, who is facing federal sex crime charges, put in a motion to exclude that video. The video, which the Bad Boy Records founder has since apologized for, showed him clad in a bath towel and running down the hallway toward Ventura before he strikes her, throws her to the ground, and kicks her twice at a now-closed luxury hotel in L.A. He then grabs her to drag her down the hallway. The video also shows Diddy throwing what appears to be a vase. In court documents, lawyers argued on Diddy's side that per a forensic specialist they hired, the video was condensed and not able to create an accurate version of events, therefore distorting the incident. I mean, seriously? You can't distort that. I don't care how you cut it. There's no way you can make that situation look good. The judge in the case denied the request, saying the video was, quote, fair and accurate in depiction, and that there are two witnesses who authenticated the video. Lawyers for the government were able to have the video slowed down so it's clearer and will be able to show it to jurors during the trial set to kick off May 5th. The April 25th pre-conference set the stage for this much anticipated trial as Diddy stares down life in prison. Combs now faces 2 counts of sex trafficking, 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, and 1 count of racketeering. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges and maintains his innocence in response to dozens of sexual assault lawsuits, which detail events dating back to the 1990s. Now, quickly, keep in mind that has nothing to do with this trial. Those are all civil cases. What he's on trial for right now is the criminal case, the big one. And I'll continue on. Racketeering is the participation in an illegal scheme under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organization Statute, or RICO. Using RICO law, which is typically aimed at targeting multi-person criminal organizations, prosecutors allege that Combs coerced victims, some of whom they say were sex workers, through intimidation and narcotics to participate in freak-offs, sometimes day-long sex performances that federal prosecutors claim to have video of. So that's that article. Then News Nation on April 26 released the following. Music mogul Sean Combs rejected a plea deal from the feds, and his upcoming trial on sex trafficking will feature widely seen 2016 hotel surveillance video. And I've covered all that with you, so I won't again. But the important thing here is he was offered a plea deal and he turned it down. It says Diddy's rejection of the plea deal, as disclosed by an assistant federal prosecutor with no details, is not considered surprising. The celebrity has maintained his innocence since he was arrested in September of 2024 on allegations he sexually abused and exploited women. Now, it is no surprise to me either, because I'm sure the deal was horrible. Now, if they would have told Diddy 2 years in jail if you plead guilty, he'd have done it. But I'm sure anything they offered him was at least 25 years. So he turned it down. He's really got nothing to lose. Another article came out in USA Today, and this one was interesting. It's titled, Call It Swingers, a preview of Sean Diddy Combs' defense as a lawyer describes the lifestyle. Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers laying out stunning groundwork for his legal defense, arguing that he's not guilty of federal sex crimes because, in his mind, he was just engaging in sexual swinging. The embattled music mogul's legal team offered that window into his possible defense during a court hearing on April 25th, less than 2 weeks before his trial. Swinging is a consensual but non-monogamous sexual behavior that takes place when singles or partners in committed relationships engage in intimate acts. The discussion arose when the prosecution argued Combs' lawyers shouldn't be able to tell jurors that he is being targeted in a vindictive or novel way. Combs' attorney, Mark Agnafilo, says his legal team agrees they shouldn't be able to argue Combs is being selectively targeted for prosecution, but they need to be able to say that there is a, quote, lifestyle that Combs had. Call it swingers, his lawyer said. He suggested that portraying Combs' activities as part of that lifestyle will be relevant to demonstrating to jurors that Combs didn't have the criminal intent that is required to be guilty. But federal prosecutors alleged the music mogul engaged in behavior that was far more sinister in nature. Combs, 55, was arrested in September at a Manhattan hotel. He has been charged with 2 counts each of sex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution and 1 count of racketeering, and his trial is set to begin May 5th. The criminal trial emerges as a series of civil lawsuits from dozens of accusers have been filed, and you know about all that. Through his legal team, Combs continued to maintain his innocence. At his April 25th hearing, a federal prosecutor said Combs had rejected a plea deal. The same attorney did not share terms of the deal, but indicated she wanted the judge to confirm with Combs directly that his lawyer told him about the offer and that he made the decision to turn it down, and that's standard procedure. The judge did indicate he'll question Combs at a May 1st hearing just days before one of the most talked about celebrity trials in recent history is underway. Interesting, he's going to use the swinger defense. Now, an article that came out on News Nation on April 25th also referenced who could show up at his trial, who could testify, and this is interesting. It reads, what celebrities could be called to testify at Diddy's trial? It's unclear what celebrities could be called to testify. However, there are many who have previous connections with Combs. Jay-Z, for example, has been named in a now-dismissed lawsuit that claimed he and Diddy raped a 13-year-old girl while a female celeb watched. Jay-Z released a statement when the lawsuit was filed, accusing the lawyer behind the suit of attempting to blackmail him. Pop star Jennifer Lopez is Combs' ex-girlfriend and was there with the rapper in 1999 when he allegedly fired a gun in a club, causing the couple to be arrested. According to reports at the time, they had been partying at Club New York in Midtown Manhattan when Combs accidentally spilled a drink onto Matthew Scar Allen. After this, a fight ensued and Combs was charged with gun possession. Lopez was also arrested after fleeing with Combs in a Lincoln Navigator, and police found a gun in the car. Lopez had to spend 14 hours in jail before her charges were dropped. Back in 2024, Lopez released a documentary that talked about, quote, people in my life who said I love you and then didn't do things that were kind of in line with the word love. LeBron James has also come out, as well as Chris Brown and Kevin Hart as possibilities. Hart has been seen interviewing a woman in a bathtub at Diddy's party in the past. After Diddy was arrested, a video resurfaced of LeBron James saying, quote, ain't no party like a Diddy party. However, none of these men have been charged with any wrongdoing or linked to any of Combs' alleged crimes. Many of Diddy's former associates are said to be nervous about whether they will be mentioned in the trial. And then it gets into Cassie Ventura, who is set to testify at Diddy's trial. It was reported in April that Ventura, who is 38, would be testifying under her name. Surveillance video from March of 2024 that was obtained by CNN shows Ventura being chased and beaten by Combs in a hotel in March of 2016. The footage showed him chasing her down, and I've already covered what happened. So she is scheduled to testify. Besides Ventura and the 3 who are testifying anonymously, it's unclear who will testify aside from them at the trial. So some people already being theorized as possibly testifying at the trial. Of course, Cassie Ventura's testimony is going to be absolute fire. I can't wait for that. All right, so a lot has come out from a lot of celebrities regarding Diddy, and I've got some clips I'm going to play for you where these celebs detail their thoughts on the trial, the accusations, a whole lot of things. And in this first clip, you're going to hear Corey Feldman. He gets asked a question regarding if he attended the Diddy parties, and he shared his thoughts on that. Here's what that sounded like.
Hey, do you have any comments on P. Diddy's situation? Have you been to those parties before?
Have I been to his parties? No, I never went to his parties.
No?
No, man.
You never get invited to go to his
I
party?
think I was a little old.
Oh, no, you're not old, man. You look young.
No, I think I was a little old to be invited is my point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. I've never been to any of his parties. I've never met the guy. I don't know any of those people. But it's disgusting, and I'm so grateful that justice is being served. And I really hope that there's a continuation of this and all of these scumbags get taken down because children need to be protected.
I agree.
That is story.
I agree.
It's so gross.
Now, in this next clip, Arsenio Hall offers his thoughts of the Diddy parties. He kind of knew about those from the beginning, and he cross-contrast what he knows now versus what he knows then and put a whole different perspective on it. Here's what that sounded like.
Did you go to a Diddy party?
Yeah, but now keep in mind,
I'm going to.
in all fairness, there are different kinds of Diddy parties. I've seen Diddy parties where children were there. You know,
I think that was the problem.
well, okay. Let me start all over.
no.
Let me start all over. Where, say, for instance, you use a person's home and their families in the home,
Right.
so it's fun, legitimate. 8 p.m.
Right.
Lots of food
Right.
and music.
Okay.
Then there are
Is that the one you
parties-
went to?
Yes.
Oh.
That's one of the ones I went to. Now, I've also seen the ones that last longer than 8 or 9. And my secret has always been, first of all, I don't go anywhere without my woman. You know, I think don't go anywhere alone. I swear to you, if you have the rule of not going anywhere alone, you don't get in as much trouble. It's very rarely does somebody say, yeah, me and my boys were hanging out. I ended up with a dick in my ass. You know, it's like, rarely happens.
Right.
If you got
Sometimes by accident with baby oil.
if you got your road dogs with you, you take your woman with you, it's when you go someplace alone and stay too long. And that's when trouble happens. But
So the problem with being alone is you can end up with a dick in you.
I just was making sure Jack was listening.
Yes.
But the bottom line is,
That's a whole other group. That's Sonny in the Backpack.
the broke backpack.
Yeah.
I've been to dinner parties at Diddy's houses or different places. I've never been to the ones that I know you're hoping that I can talk about. And that's the ones where there
don't hope. I wanna know.
1,000 bottles of baby oil. First of all, that sounds like a good way to keep people from leaving. Because if you got a lot of baby oil, it ain't nobody going nowhere. You know,
You're
you
just
start
slipping and sliding.
and,
You can't turn the doorknob.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't get out.
You can't escape if there are 1,000 bottles of baby oil being used. That's a lot of oil.
Yeah, and it's not like you could just say, like, if somebody claims that you did something and go, I slipped.
Yes.
I just slipped in.
His attorney, though, said that he probably just bought it from Costco.
Costco. That was a great. I'm sure Costco.
I think if you go to Costco, they don't have 1,000 bottles of baby oil right now.
I would imagine the two. I got to read another ad again. Costco says.
Were you surprised at the charges, though, or did you hear like rumblings ever from anyone that he was not great person?
I always heard the rumblings. And I witnessed an interesting conversation during a commercial when I did Celebrity Apprentice. Okay.
And he's the winner of Celebrity.
I won
we'll talk about
Celebrity-
that.
yeah.
We'll talk about that.
I won Celebrity Apprentice one year. And
when
I was-
when Aubrey O'Day was on.
I was on that year.
Oh.
I saw
I think
that.
it was year 5 or 05.
She's been very outspoken about her
She
feelings
was.
with Diddy.
And here's the interesting conversation in the room.
Mm-hmm.
She says some negative things about Diddy, and I'm listening. Trump chimes in and defends Diddy. And that surprised me because usually Trump don't defend nobody but himself. And for him to speak up and say, well, I like him. He's a good guy. I've never had problems, blah, blah, blah. And he gives him a full-throated vote of character. And Aubrey says, well, that wasn't my experience. And she says the opposite and says he's a horrible person. And I'm listening to this, and I have no idea one day this is going to play out in real time. And of course, this is that month that it's playing out.
So another clip that has been swirling around for a while, it involves Lady Gaga, who spoke out about an encounter she had. And although she's never confirmed she was speaking about Diddy, many people close to her, maybe close to that situation, claim that's who she was talking about. It's important to mention she's never said this. She's never confirmed that. But the clip, regardless of who she's talking about, is disturbing. Listen to this.
Said to me, take your clothes off. And I said no. And I left. And they told me they were going to burn all my music. And they didn't stop. They didn't stop asking me, and then I just froze and I don't even remember. And I will not say his name. I understand this Me Too movement. I understand that some people feel really comfortable with this, and I do not. I do not ever want to face that person again.
So lately, Terrence Howard, he's been making the podcast rounds. And in those podcasts, the subject of Sean Combs has come up more than once. In this clip from the PBD podcast, that's Patrick Bet David, he speaks of his experience where, according to him, Diddy propositioned him. You've got to hear this one.
You know, there's a short life in
why do you think that is with the creative side?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take drugs. You're going through so much shit to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far. You know, who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what he had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. You know, but when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
Man, I mean, you know, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that shit because the man card means everything.
I had no idea we're going to go this direction with the podcast. This is absolute. But listen, we've talked about it. We've had a lot of the guys on to talk about this stuff. Are you done with Hollywood because of this specific reason?
I'm still working. I still. I haven't made the money necessary to do all of the other stuff. So I still have to go and do the Chitlin circuit. I still have to do the job that I need to. But eventually, I've done what I set out to do, which was to redefine the universe. I've proven what I've set out to do, and that's why I have all the patents. Whether they evaluate it or not, that's up to them. But I've done the work and finished it. Now I can go on and do whatever else we need to do.
Now, Joe Rogan's podcast, the most popular podcast on earth. Even he has got into the Diddy talk a little bit. In this next clip, he's speaking with a former UFC champion, really a legend, Israel Adesanya, who tells a wild story of his experience with Sean Combs. And here's that.
This year, it's kind of crazy how this year started off with, what's his name, Cat Williams on Shannon Sharp. He starts talking, spilling the tea, sipping the cognac.
Yeah.
And then now this whole P. Diddy thing.
Sometimes you have to tell Diddy no.
Oh, man, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, man.
Sean Diddy Combs' alleged list of accomplishments to be revealed soon. The names will shock you, attorney says. Whoa.
I think he's going to sing, I think
he has to sing or he goes to jail for the rest of his life.
God protects me. I'm so glad God protects me because, look, if I got invited to the white party, I'd have gone.
Especially if you didn't know.
Of course. No one knew. No one
right.
knew.
If
and
you
then
don't know, you're just
out.
a celebrity and you know, oh, Jennifer Lopez is going to be there. Oh, Rick Ross is going to be there. Everyone's going to be there. And that would be a cool place. I want to meet those people.
Facts. And I just want to be there having fun partying. But then they start to, apparently, they said they were using, I'm going to guess it's like ketamine because they said horse tranquilizer and they were putting in people's drinks in the champagne and then getting them all loose.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a secret. It's just us two, right?
Yeah.
After I knocked out Pereira in Miami, we went to Tootsie's the next night and they were like, yo, P. Diddy wasn't here watching your fight last night. I was like, wait, word? Crazy. Then I went and checked my DMs and I saw, oh shit, he hit me up. And he was talking about 2 months later, I want to do an interview or whatever. And I said, here's my manager's number. Bob, cool. Nothing ever came off it. But again, that's why I say God be protecting me.
Right.
Because who knows? Like, you never know. Oh, yeah, we're having this party later on. Yeah, that's cool. All right, cool. And then they start to like, you know, you find some chick, you pull on you, and then boom. Oh, how was that 15-year-old? Wait, what?
Right. And you're filmed. Yeah.
I heard about that. Yeah.
He had apparently, allegedly, cameras all over the house and 100,000
bottles of baby oil.
Yeah. What?
Nobody's that ashy, bro. 1,000. Also, by the way, that's shit lube. Coconut oil is better. Fucking water-based lubricant. Yeah. But baby oil is acidic as fuck. Johnson & Johnson's. Like, that's demonic, bro. Like, why would you use baby oil? Even if you're fucking dudes. Nah.
You probably started out with it. That's all the bottles.
Nah, that's AI. That's gotta be AI. That's gotta be AI.
I don't know if it's AI. I think that's real. I think it was lube and baby oil. I think you had a variety of different substances.
Who counted that? Was 1,000?
Look at that.
1, 2, 3 bottles of baby oil. 4, 5, 6 bottles of baby oil on the wall.
Imagine having 500 bottles and go, we need to go for a fucking Target run.
Nah, man. Oh, the fact that said it was fucking, what do you call it, Costco, and Costco goes, nah, we don't sell that shit.
What is this? Defaced AR-15s? Interesting. What does that mean? Does that mean
so they scratch the
serial numbers off?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a serious crime.
Yeah.
That's a serious crime.
But again, see, he's in cahoots with Epstein. And then
was he in cahoots with Epstein, or was it just a similar type of an operation?
No, they were friends.
Really?
Yeah, because Epstein had a fucking on Miami as well. That really private, rich estate in Miami. So they were all in cahoots as well. But again, I think he's gonna sing.
Isn't it crazy? Like, that was always the conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat thing. Oh, there's a place where the elites go to fuck underage kids. You're like, what?
What's his name? Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Yeah. He was right.
He was right.
He was right about a lot of things.
Almost everything.
Yeah, most.
About almost everything. Fucked up that one. But almost everything else, he was right. But you got to realize that guy had been uncovering real conspiracies that the media had not covered for fucking decades. And he was literally having like a psychotic break because of it, because he's just drinking all the time and dealing with the stress.
How would you, even Kanye, imagine you trying to tell people something.
Right.
And then no one believes you and they call you crazy. I'd go crazy just trying to explain to people. Even, I can imagine the frustration of trying to explain to someone, and you're like, no, this is really happening. And they're like, yeah, whatever, you this and that. And I went down the rabbit hole in 2020. I'll tell you, I did. I had to. And for me, it was just like, I could see the fuckery.
So there you have it. Diddy Trial underway. I'm going to bring you all the details. Thank you so much for listening, and special thanks to all the Patreon celebrity members out here. I could not do this if it were not for all of you. If you're interested in supporting the show and getting some amazing perks, check us out at patreon.com/exposedpodcastfiles. And until next time, for Exposed Scandalous Files of the Elite, I'm your host, Jim Chapman. Much love.